My son, anger is not the problem. Your relationship to it is. Anger has been misunderstood for a long time, pathologized, suppressed, or weaponized. You were either taught that anger is dangerous and must be buried, or that anger is power and should be unleashed. Both are wrong. Anger is not violence. Anger is not cruelty. Anger is not dominance. Anger is energy. Specifically, boundary energy. It is the signal that something matters and something is being violated. When anger is healthy, it protects. When anger is unintegrated, it destroys. Most men struggle with anger, not because they have too much of it, but because they were never taught how to hold it. They either swallow it until it turns into resentment, or they act it out and regret the damage afterward. Neither is strength. Anger is meant to be contained, directed, and metabolized, not avoided, not indulged. Contained anger becomes clarity. Directed anger becomes action. Uncontained anger becomes chaos. Here's the part you need to understand. Anger is often the second emotion. It shows up after something else has already been ignored. Disrespect, betrayal, shame, powerlessness. When those experiences aren't acknowledged in real time, anger accumulates. And when it finally surfaces, it feels explosive. Not because the situation is extreme, but because the boundary was crossed long ago. This is why men who suppress anger often explode over small things. The explosion is not about the moment. It's about the backlog. Your nervous system keeps score. Every time you tolerate something you shouldn't, every time you stay silent when you should speak, every time you abandon your own standards for comfort, anger stores itself quietly. And when it finally emerges, it feels disproportionate. That's not because you're unstable. It's because you didn't listen earlier. This is where many men get confused. They think anger itself is the enemy, so they try to eliminate it. They distract, they numb, they spiritualize, they intellectualize. But anger doesn't disappear when ignored. It mutates. Suppressed anger becomes depression. It becomes apathy. It becomes passive aggression. It becomes self-sabotage. It turns inward. And a man who turns his anger inward eventually turns against himself. That's why men with no visible anger often struggle with motivation, discipline, and self-respect. They've cut themselves off from the energy that says, "This matters." Now listen carefully. Anger is not meant to be expressed impulsively. Impulse is not authenticity. Impulse is loss of containment. Containment is what turns anger into strength. Containment means you feel the anger fully, without letting it hijack your behavior. You don't suppress it. You don't discharge it blindly. You hold it. And in holding it, you gain information. Anger tells you where your boundaries are. If you don't know what angers you, you don't know what you stand for. That's dangerous. A man without boundaries becomes resentful. A man without anger becomes passive. A man without containment becomes destructive. The goal is integration. Here is where the psychology matters. Anger activates the sympathetic nervous system. Heart rate increases. Muscles tense. Attention narrows. This is preparation for action. But modern life gives you very few clean outlets for that action. So the energy stays trapped. If you don't train your body, anger stagnates. If you don't speak honestly, anger festers. If you don't set boundaries, anger explodes. This is why physical training is essential for men. Strength training and martial arts give anger somewhere to go. They teach your nervous system that intensity can be metabolized without destruction. You learn to stay present under load, to breathe under pressure, to act with precision instead of impulse. That skill transfers directly into life. A man who trains his body regularly is less reactive emotionally, not because he feels less, but because his system knows how to handle intensity. Now let's talk about boundaries. Anger becomes destructive when boundaries are unclear. If you don't know what you will tolerate and what you won't, anger will speak for you. Often too late, often too loudly. Integrated anger speaks early. It shows up as firmness, not explosion. It sounds like, "That doesn't work for me. I won't accept that. This needs to change." No shouting, no threats, no drama, just clarity. That clarity prevents resentment. Resentment is anger that has been delayed too long. And resentment corrodes relationships slowly. This is especially important in relationships with women. A man who cannot express anger cleanly either becomes passive or controlling. Passive men swallow anger until they disappear. Controlling men act anger out as dominance. Both push intimacy away. A grounded man uses anger to set boundaries without cruelty. He does not punish. He does not intimidate. He does not sulk. He states his standard and stands by it. That's masculine authority, not aggression. Authority is calm anger properly contained. Now let's address something deeper. Many men are afraid of their anger because they've seen what uncontained anger can do. They grew up around volatility, rage, unpredictability. So they associate anger with danger. They promise themselves they will never be like that. But in avoiding anger completely, they abandon power. Anger itself is not the problem. Unintegrated anger is. Integration means you take responsibility for the energy instead of letting it leak. You notice anger early. You name it. You act on the information, not the impulse. This requires honesty. You must stop pretending things don't bother you when they do. You must stop tolerating what violates your values. You must stop waiting until anger explodes before you act. Here are practical steps. First, notice where anger shows up repeatedly. Those are boundary violations you keep ignoring. Second, stop moralizing anger. It's not bad. It's not good. It's data. Third, give anger a physical outlet. Lift heavy, train hard, move your body. Fourth, practice speaking early and simply. No speeches, no justifications. State the boundary and stop talking. Fifth, clean up resentment. Ask yourself, what did I tolerate that I shouldn't have? Then correct it. This is how anger becomes an ally. And here is the deeper truth. A man who has integrated his anger is not volatile. He is solid. He does not seek conflict. But he does not avoid it. He does not need to dominate. But he cannot be pushed around. That balance creates presence. People feel it immediately. Anger integrated becomes gravity. Anger unintegrated becomes noise. So stop trying to get rid of your anger. Learn to hold it. Learn to listen to it. Learn to act from it responsibly. That is how anger becomes strength. And that is why anger is not the problem.